welcome to another Lee Fisher's Always Fishing. So what are we doing today? Well, as you can see behind me here, I'm in a quiet little corner and I'm down on the pits. Now the target today, it's a bit of a two-pronged attack really. I'm going to fish the morning. It's about 5:30, 5:45 now. I'm going to fish the morning for the tench, hoping to get a tench, you know, anything would be nice. Once it gets to midday, when the sun gets up, it looks like it's going to be a scorcher today. There's no wind, there's no clouds, so it's going to be a hot one. Then I'm going to move over to one of the other pits behind me here, and I'm going to have an afternoon, evening surface fishing for carp. So tenching carp today. Fingers crossed we get one or both. Little update. It's about 8:15 now, and all I've had to show for it so far is a couple of small rudd. I've kept one rod on a little pop-up boilie out in the middle there, but the earlier bubbling has just disappeared now. Down here, it's just down here in the margins, I've been float fishing with a worm, and there's been loads of bubbles coming up all morning. They've started to fade away now. Certain they were tench, but I just couldn't get a bite. Every time I threw a handful of hempen pellets in, you know, there was bubbles coming up all over the place, but I just could not get a bite. It's all faded away now, you know, there's a couple of odd bubbles coming up, but you know, nothing much is happening. So what I'm going to do, I was going to give it until about 10:30, give it 5 hours, 5:30 to 10:30, but if you look on the little, if you just pan around, literally just behind me here, there's the little pond that I like to fish. Now normally I fish over the other side there in that corner, fish into that little reedy corner. But if I look down here, I don't know if you can see that in the bright sunlight, but I've thrown a few handfuls of hemp out there, and they're just fizzing like crazy, absolutely going mental. I look at them, and it's so tempting, you know. I'm getting no bites over there, the fish are fizzing like crazy here, so I think I'm gonna wind in and have a few hours over here before I then go over to the other lake, the other side of the fence, and do an afternoon, evening's surface fishing for carp. So slight change of plan. I'm going to give it a go in the pond for a little while. Right, so this is where we're at now. It's about 9 o'clock. Moved over to the little tench and carp pond. Fish are fizzing like mad. I've had a few sort of hooked fish, but they've come off. That float's dipping about now. I don't know if you can see all that fizzing out there, but something's got to happen soon. Target on here is a £5 plus tench. That's what we're going to go for today. fish at last. Not the tench that I was after, but a pretty little mirror carp. First one of the day. Pretty little scaly carp. Right, try and catch a tench now. Nice little golden rod. Just what I was after. Nice tench. See if I can get one or two more, and then I'll probably move over onto the carp lake, see if I can get a carp off the top. But in the meanwhile, nice tench. And there's the target of the day. I should think this one's probably around about £5. If not, then it's not far off. Brilliant. Happy with this. Exactly what I came down here for. Right, well this is the third lake today. So my third session in effect. And the plan now is to have a go stalking on the surface with chum mixers and see if we can get a carp off the top. So that's my target. My first fish off the top this year. Now, I haven't done it for a while. I haven't been down 10 months probably. 10 months since I caught carp off the top. Conditions aren't ideal, you know, we've got a north wind coming across. The lake's really busy. I couldn't get where I wanted to. It's absolutely stitched up, so I've had to come round to the other side in a less favourable swim. But I've just put a few mixers out there, and straight away I've seen a couple of fish come up, as well as the birds of course, but there's a couple of fish, so it looks like we might be in with a chance. Well, that didn't take long, did it? Second cast that was, and I've had one. It's not ideal conditions. The old waves are pushing right into my face, so I think I'll unhook this one and put it back. It's a low double. I'll try and unhook it in the net and slip it straight back. Then I think I'm gonna move over to the road bank where it's less windy. But fish already, can't be bad. This is what I'm up against today. Well, it's about 5:30, 5:45 now on the road bank, as you can probably hear. It's been one of those days, you know. I've been fishing on here since about 1:30, I suppose. It started off okay because I had a fish straight away, and then as soon as I moved around to this road bank where it was a little bit calmer, the birds just absolutely swamped me. Swarms and swarms of all sorts of birds, and it didn't matter how much bait you put out, they just took the lot. There was no fish around. I had to work really hard to try and get through the birds, you know. Eventually one or two fish started showing, and I've had several swirls, you know, where they come up and just swirl a bit of bait. I've had about 10 or 11 of those. I did hook a fish. I did hook a fish and it charged off over to the other side there, and it just kept going and going and going and going and going and going and going, and it flipping my hook link snapped. You know, it's been one of those days. And now the birds are back again. They're absolutely doing my head in, the birds. The wind swung around now and it's coming straight back in my face again, so the baits are blowing straight back into my own bank. You know, if it weren't for the fact that it was 5:30, 5:45, rush hour on the road, right the other side of this hedge here, as you can probably hear, if it weren't for that, if it weren't the rush hour, I'd probably cut my losses and go home. You know, it's just one of those days, absolute rubbish day. Write this one off, I think. Finally, I've got one out the swim. A nice fish here, approaching 20 pounds, I would have thought. Maybe just about 20 pounds. Give him a quick weigh in a minute. Persistence paid off. Well, it's approaching 7 o'clock now, and to be honest, I've had enough. It's been a long, tough day. You know, I fished 3 different lakes. I struggled on the first one, I struggled on the second one, I struggled on this one. You know, I could stay for another couple of hours, but to be honest, I'm done, you know. I mean, I shouldn't complain really, should I? You know, I mean, I've had a couple of nice tench out the second lake, and I've had a nice near 20 pound carp out of this lake. You know, years ago that would have been an unbelievable result. So I shouldn't complain, and I won't complain, but I have had better sessions. Anyway, that's it for this one. Not sure what I'm going to be doing next week. Fancy something different again, so see you on that one. Cheers.